What's up, everyone? It is here, finally, episode 4 of the Act Out podcast. Miss Cheyenne cannot join us today due to scheduling conflict, but we are here today with an awesome special guest today. I'm so excited. Our first guest of the season,
Hey,
Mr. Flores
Floor
himself.
Easy, what's good, y'all? My name is David. I'm really proud and happy to be here on Shout Out Podcast. You feel me? Act Out Podcast.
Yeah,
We'll
Act
edit
Out
that out.
podcast.
We'll edit that out. Let's edit that
Cut
out.
the cameras.
Actor, got the camera right there. The time line. Oh God, yeah, I'm really happy to be here on Act Out Podcast. You know what I mean? It's a pleasure,
Yes,
and we
shout out Shay. Shout out Shay, even though
shout
she's
out
gonna be here
Shay.
today. Yes.
Yo.
But yes, guys, today episode is about self growth. But we'll get into that later. But before, let's get into business and talk about Mr. Flores a little bit. So Flores, tell well, his actual name is David. David, introduce yourself. Formally introduce
My
yourself.
name is David. Yep, I'm from North Portland. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I'm Roman's age, and
Which
some
is
people call me Florezi. You said what?
what? So which is 21, right?
Yep, 21.
Uh
Yes,
huh.
sir.
What's your sign?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Sag. Okay,
Yeah, I'm a Sag.
assertive.
Yep.
All right.
Technically, I'm a cuss, Sagittarius and Scorpio cuss,
Uh huh.
because I was born on the 22nd of November,
Uh-huh.
so it was like that's the beginning of Sagittarius, but the end of Scorpio. But
Mm.
my sun and rising is Scorpio.
Okay.
Anyways, for all you astrology fans, y'all know what I'm talking about, but
My dad is a Scorpio.
really?
His birthday is on November 18th.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. That's what's up.
This is up.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so what else do you want to tell us about that? So you're from North Portland, 21, Sag. What is your relationship status?
I'm currently single right now. I've been off the market. I'm not really looking right
Oh,
now.
oh,
This goes into our debate about self growth and personal growth. You know, I'm here to talk to you about that and how I've led up to this point, how my life has led up to this point, pretty much.
uh-huh. But
But
before that, we're gonna spill some tea before we
let's
get
get the
there.
tea. Let me.
So David, how did we meet? Do you remember how we met? Because I remember how we met.
I remember how we met.
Okay, so what do you remember?
Okay. I would never forget how we met because I think I started like, it was like the first week of Walmart. I was
Mhm.
just introduced and we had two different positions. You were in the
Yeah.
early morning and I was in the afternoon, but
Hmm.
our schedules like correlated.
Overlapped. Yeah,
Yeah, they
overlapped.
overlapped. Yep. And I remember coming in and like one of the managers told me to go to Roman, go to him, and he'll teach you a little bit about fresh produce. And I was like, I bet. So I go over, I see the dude, I'm like, oh shit, okay. And I'm like, hey, are you Roman? And you're like, yeah. And I don't know, since the first moment we met, it was like we were friends already. Like
Yeah.
it felt like like I didn't even need an introduction. You know what I mean? Like we were just both ourselves, and I was like, "Oh, what's up?" Like talking, like we had a similar interests. I think we knew another fellow coworker there.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
and she was working there at the time, and I think that's how the conversation started. And then from there, we were just kind of like, oh, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Oh, we're kind of from like the same people. We know some people, from high school, elementary school, and shit. And then yeah, it's just I don't know, like kind of connected. And this is what I will never forget. That was the first time I met him. It was like 1 hour, 2 hours, and then after that, I did not see this man for like 3 months.
That ass. Because I remember I was like, and I was still being shady because I didn't tell nobody I was leaving. I
Oh
was
god.
like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, all right, yeah, I'll see you next time. I was like, oh, yo, just met a new coworker, just got this job. I'm finna start off right. Don't see him for 3 months. I thought he quit. I was like, where did Roman go?
I was living my life in Mexico.
Period. Oh god. And then he comes back 3 months later. You're walking in the store like nothing happened, clocked in with the with the little badge, like, hey, yes, sir.
And then I remember you told me, like, I thought you quit.
On God, I thought I was shook. I was like, wait, you still working? I met you once and you just never showed up again.
No,
I
yeah.
was like, wow.
I do remember that day. I clearly remember that day.
Mhm.
We were out on the sales floor, and then
Yep.
you were like, "Oh, are you Roman?" I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
The Roman.
The Roman, if you don't know Roman.
Yes, and then And then after that, bro, talking to you, like no cap, I'm like after talking to you, it just felt that we have known each other for a long time. I feel like you're one of my homies from like day
Past
one.
life.
Yeah, dead eyes.
Yes,
And then
sir. Yeah, that's how I
like
felt like.
I think that's like, and I remember like we had similar interests. You graduated high school, we were gonna go into college.
Yep.
Our majors weren't the same, but
Mhm.
we had a lot of interest in education, and we took education serious. And you
Yeah.
had Mexican parents, I had Mexican parents. I think just having Mexican parents and growing up Mexican is and a connection that you have with someone regular
Oh
because
yeah.
of how what we deal with as Mexican children.
Hmm.
So that was really cool. And we have talked even after we like actually started hanging out, became friends about our parents and
Facts.
and
Yeah.
living as a Hispanic man in this country and society.
Hmm. Yeah, I think like beginning off, especially because it was a new job, seeing somebody like from my culture also gave me like that safety, that comfortability. I was like, oh, it's like there's Roman, like that, he's kind of like me a little bit, just that it shares a little bit of that background. That was
Yeah,
enough. That was enough to spark that like, safety and just being like, okay, he's cool.
yeah. Um, and then after that, after the me disappearing for 3 months,
Yeah.
we would just talk at work, right? Like we just would talk at work.
Yeah.
Um, we wouldn't really like hang out that much like outside work.
Nah.
I can't remember. I don't really remember how we started hanging out. I actually becoming friends.
Yeah. I do remember. I do remember.
What do you
So,
remember?
from
If
your
you
disappearance
no, you better
in
not.
your summer break.
You
Huh?
better not name drop.
I won't. I won't.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say, at the time, there was a mutual friend that I didn't know was mutual yet, but I had met them over those 3 months, and during that course, I was actually getting pretty like well known with them. We worked a
Mhm.
lot together and stuff, and then they started mentioning your name, and I was like, wait, he still works here? And then you came back, and I was like, oh, okay. And since the schedule started matching up, we had other friends that went there, and there's just like a lot of people our age, and so like word just got kind of spread around. And then I think through them, that mutual friend that I didn't know was mutual yet, um you got invited to a couple, or I think we got invited to like a couple parties and like saw each
Mhm.
other once or maybe twice, and you came over, I think like once or twice, I remember that. And
Mhm.
then since then, I think later our shifts, I think you switch your shift from the
Yeah,
morning, yeah, to the afternoon, and that's when we
yeah,
started getting scheduled, and that's
yeah,
when we started like hanging out a lot more and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is this mutual friend? I because I'm we had two mutual friends.
Yeah, it was
Is
both of
it
them.
is both of them? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
At the time,
at the time.
we used to be mutual friends.
Yes, used to be
Uh,
mutual.
yeah. And then after that our schedules correlated. I
Yeah,
went back to your schedule, and that's how we started talking. I remember we used to
yeah.
always do like fake raps. Used to always rap.
Uh, the freestyle. Every time we just, yeah, that shit was funny. We'd be on the sales floor and we just be we just be rapping. Customers thinking we talking to them. We just putting
Bro,
products on there.
I remember like we did not like I remember I did not work. Like we didn't work.
We did not work.
We did not work.
We were terrible. And there was the other Cuddy too. I won't drop
Uh-huh.
his name, but yeah, you know who
Yeah.
we talking about. He was
Yeah.
hella cool. I gotta hit him up sometime. But
Shout out to Jay.
yeah, shout out to Jay on God.
Uh-huh.
He was the one that like I like that was like my friend at Walmart because we had the same shifts.
Yeah.
Because yeah, a coworker and
'Cause
stuff. Like that was the one
even
that I
then,
work with.
me, you weren't as close. You and him were still closer.
Yeah, yeah. At the time, we were
Yeah.
like pretty close. So it was cool. Yeah, that was another coworker. That was the homie,
Yeah.
and yeah, he wouldn't join in, but he would be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
all three of
then
us.
I remember me and you we spent Thanksgiving together that year.
Hmm.
That was one of the last good memories with everyone in
It
that was in our
was
circle in our job.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Wait,
It was
we
on your
worked that day.
birthday. Yeah, it was
That
on
was
your
my
birthday.
birthday. I do remember
Yeah.
that. I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was late.
And then after that,
Uh,
a couple days later, somebody had a party, a
yeah,
birthday party.
indeed.
That
Should I
that
say it? Should I say it?
It's the Act Out podcast. You can act out.
I'm finna act out. Oh god.
uh,
Yeah.
that day, I think, if I'm honest with you, David, I feel like I have expressed this to you before. I think after that day, like we were cool at like before your birthday party, but
Yeah.
after that we were cool. Like
Yeah, we were cool.
we were like
Like
this.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's it. Close it
like
up. Case closed.
yeah, like that's when I knew that like David had always proven to me that he was real, but like that day he proved to me that he was
Yes,
real. Like
sir.
not that he needed to prove anything, but that day I knew that was like that is my friend.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
after that, like me and you, like it actually established a friendship because like bro, during that time I was at the lowest time of my life. Like
Yeah.
my parents, I didn't have my parents at the time.
Yeah.
I was a freshman in college,
Mhm.
trying to get through
Like
college on my,
winter.
yeah, winter.
That's always the toughest
It's
one
the
too,
toughest
especially
term.
having like that environment right there, that situation. It's like,
I had
and
such a
then
toxic environment,
yeah,
but you, bro, you held it down for me. You were there for me that whole
yo,
time.
I appreciate it, bro. On God, yeah. Like I think before, yeah, we were cool before the party, and we also had another party before that. That also was just kind of like another stem of like a,
Uh huh.
like a little staircase, and then the
Yeah.
party, and then it's like, all right, that was the
Yeah.
road. But yeah, bro, you know what I mean? I'm happy to be your friend. It was
Thank
cool.
you.
I
Me too.
got you. Like, it's just who I am, and I wouldn't regret anything.
Is
Like,
there anything that you wanna like touch on that party or no?
um, not really. I mean, that party was like that. Okay, yeah, that party actually was very interesting, honestly, because okay,
You were put in a very difficult position.
I was, and it was. That's why it was so different. Because I want to say it, but I can't.
I feel like you had never been put in a situation like that.
Mm,
So it was really hard for you. And I know it was hard for you because
yeah,
you never wanted to choose and you never chose. That's the funny
yeah,
thing. You never chose a
nah,
side. And I feel like a side was chosen for you,
mm.
you
It's
know?
facts. Because of the mutual friends that we had, like I saw, the true colors. And that's always interesting. That always leads me to like, a different perspective, like how I see the world on my friends, on my past friends, on my future friends. Cause like it was tough. Like it's like, yeah, we were coworkers, but then we became like more than that, friends. And then I just saw who you were after that, like to those people, and I was like, damn, like, you know, and that's how they treated you too, and that's when like it kind of solidified, and I was like, sheesh, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was kind of because of that situation that I was put in. I had to like make decisions, but like you said, I didn't really choose a side. I just kind of like did what was best at the time, and I think I made the right choice. And it was just interesting how it played out because, like I said, actions speak louder than words. So like their actions spoke and painted and had a video and recorded and put that that all on all on blast.
I forgot I still have the recording of the night.
Yes. Oh,
I remember I have a recording of that
yeah.
night.
He said.
I said, "What's up?"
Can you say that a little louder?
So just not for me, but for the viewers, the listeners on the Acta podcast, um, can you back up whatever I said on episode 3?
Yes, I can. Cause how I don't know what else to like. How far I can say. What's the
Yeah.
limit at?
No,
Like,
that's good. I just want
yeah.
people to know that you can back me up on what I said on episode 3.
Okay. Yep.
If you care, listeners, if you really want to know what happened, go listen to episode 3 and you'll
Oh
find
God.
out what happened.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Floresi,
Witness.
you'll find out what role he played in that story.
Yo,
And you heard it here first. He can back me up on what was said.
that's period. Y'all can come to me, go to the comments, subscribe, like, share it, and I'll let y'all know.
Right. Okay. So speaking of all these situations,
Events.
events that have happened,
Yo.
what in your life has happened where you have, well, first, when we get into that, what is your definition of self growth?
Um, I was thinking about that before because like it's self growth to me is usually it stems from events, but that's just how I take it.
Hmm.
So it's always going to be different for everybody. I think personal growth is, of course, growing. And what that means is learning from your mistakes and also changing. Like growing means you're not the same. So you're going to be something different. You know, you're growing up to be something else than you were before. But some people can go through events and not grow. They'll just keep repeating the cycle or they'll just keep going through the same situation and not like learning for themselves. And so I think self growth, really important thing is that learning part is that like wanting to learn, and then along with it comes a lot of other factors like forgiving yourself, forgiving what happened. You know, there's things that you couldn't control, but whatever situation that you've been through, self growth at the end of the day is what you learned, it's what you experienced, and it's like what you do afterwards, you know.
I like that. I like the response. I like that
Yeah,
definition.
yeah.
All right, all right.
What's your definition of self growth?
My definition of self growth would be, following up to what you said. I think I'm a firm believer in that, like, the events that happen in your life should change the person you are or how you react to certain things. But
Right.
then again, a lot of people don't. Like, they've gone through a lot of stuff. I know people who've gone to jail and still haven't changed. I know people who've gone through like almost life threatening situations and they still haven't changed. But
Yeah.
for me, it's whenever you would react different than you would before. Like, there's been times where I would have been like, the old Roman would have done this, but the new
Yeah.
Roman thinks
New and
about it.
improved.
New
Yeah.
and improved, like, thinks about it. It's just
Mhm.
basically how you go about things differently.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's no need for change because the way you go about things is normal for you, and that's okay.
That's true.
But you should also, another thing is, like, whatever you do is okay to you, but at least you should acknowledge how it can react to other people.
True.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, that's definitely true. And like that's where that learning part comes, you know? Like you can not really learn anything new and just
Mhm.
continue, and that like decision or that choice or whatever is like always something that, you know, was good, and maybe you're just like a good, have good integrity, good person. And
Mhm.
so the events that planned out were like okay, but some people don't learn from that. They make wrong choices. They make things that affect them because they didn't think about what would happen about others, how other like how do I say it? Like how it affect like the outer situation pretty
Yeah.
much, you know. It's like you're in the thing, so like you're put in it, you have a choice to make, and some people make choices that affect all of them around or just themselves personally, or you know that doesn't affect them as much, but
Mm.
they still learn from it, they still have that different perspective if they go through it, which is where
Right.
that self-growth comes from.
So, from that definition and the things, the details you have explained to us, what is an example you can give us about where you have noticed self growth within yourself?
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot, but I think one of the most important ones honestly was high school. I think elementary, like I didn't realize everything or couldn't process it because we go to school for like 10 years straight, and then you got high school 4 years, and then you got
Mhm.
college and it's another school, and school is a system. So a lot of stuff happens during that system and when you go into that kind of structure. But in high school, for me personally, it was only 4 years. I didn't really know anybody, but a lot of events happened. And I think it wasn't really the high school itself or the people. It The people that went there also had an effect on me, but it was mainly my family and it was mainly myself. Nobody really knew what was going on. I never was open like that. And I actually had a brother who attended there at the same time, and he was 2 years older than me. So when I was a sophomore, he graduated as a senior, and you know only me and him knew what like our home life was, and I don't think he was that expressive with his friends either. I think me and him, we talked a lot and we grown like a lot. But it wasn't until sophomore year when like things really switched. 2016, bro, that was the year. That was like my life just went like just blew up, and I learned so much from that. There's a lot of events that happened, more than one. I would say one of them was due to relationships. I've never really was into relationships like that, and my personality and my perspective on how that was very skewed because of my family and like how I grew up and what I've seen in my environment and how I was taught. So it was a lot different to see other people's perspective and learning from that in high school, because all of middle school, that's all I ever knew. But in high school, that's when people were actually like, growing into adults or maturing, and like things were just kind of changing. So I would say, yeah, 2016, there was a few events to me that happened. Also 2017, it was like from 2016 and above, that's when like the pinnacle was of my switch and who I am today. Because everything before, I was still a kid. I couldn't express things. Wasn't emotionally available like that. But that year I found myself, and I found friends, and I found people who I can like, who were allowed me to express that. Even if they didn't do anything, even if they were just there listening, like that was enough for me to change myself, because I wanted to talk and I wanted to like share things. So yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that self growth, like you get a feeling, or is it more like a memory thing? Like
Mhm. Yeah, I think it goes with both, because with feelings you need memories, like you can't really, or like with memories you need feelings.
mm-hmm,
Like I can't vividly remember, that one time, but if I smell something, it'll like bring me back that feeling or that memory.
mm-hmm.
um I think that uh wait, what was the question again?
Like what I'm asking is, do you think you feel self growth, or do you remember self growth? Like you're like,
Hmm,
oh, I remember I would react this way towards something, or I
okay.
feel it.
Yeah, no, for me personally, it was feeling, because I had so many feelings that were untapped. And as a child, like my, you know, I think I grew up in a parenting style where it was mostly neglect. And with that came a lot of independence. So I was a very independent kid. And so with that, I was also very, aware and conscious and just like observant. I didn't know how to express it yet or like put it into words, but I saw a lot of things. And so the feeling of me being able to express, the feeling of me not being able to like guilt trip myself or feel bad about my judgments or like self doubt or anything. That feeling of like knowing, wow, like this is what it's supposed to be like. This is like, I can make my own life feel this way and not feel bad, because, just last week I was terrible, down bad, but then an event happened and boom, just like that, a couple of days later, I was completely different. And that feeling was like something I can never like, you know, it's indescribable pretty much.
Yeah. Well, something I can say from knowing you for all these years is that I have seen a lot of self growth within you because
Yeah,
I remember
appreciate that.
just like we have conversations where like you were at your lowest point, and just recently
Yeah,
you told me that you felt you were at a low point. And I remember what I told you is you've gotten yourself out of these situations before. It's something
yeah,
that you can do, that you can get yourself out of. Because since knowing you, like I remember, like back then, you'd be like, "Oh, like F work, like I'm not gonna go, I don't want to go," and then, but like even like even now, like you're more responsible. You think through things now,
mhm,
and you're just like what are the consequences of me doing this?
yeah,
And I just see that you like or like I one thing I can say is you're more responsible, and I used try to remain positive even back then. Like you'd be like damn, I'm really stuck in this situation. What am I gonna do? Like you would like what am I gonna do? But now I feel like you like have it figured out. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this to help me fix this, and then I'm gonna go from here and do this.
yeah.
I feel like you like became more responsible and thought things through. Like I've said before.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. I agree with that, because like I I feel like my tendencies still linger though. You know what I mean? Like I still am struggling with that, but for sure I definitely like grown a lot more. I think back then I was still kind of living with my parents, and so everybody's situation is different. But currently now
Mm.
I'm not living with my parents, and that's been like a whole nother event and like experience in itself. Like it's something that I don't know. It's like totally different. People call it adulting, into
Yeah.
adulthood, the real world, the real life, and like it's just interesting to transition from, being out of school to having your own place, to having your own job, to not living with your parents, not having that, backbone all the time,
Mhm.
that stability. You got to create your stability, and that's
Yeah.
something that I've learned. And like you said, thinking through to be stable. But back then, I didn't really. I had something to fall back on, so I wasn't too, like, I was more carefree.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but now I'm just like, yeah, for sure.
And shout out to you for doing that because I can't could not see myself living without my parents. So shout out to you for doing that because
Yeah,
it's hard, especially for Hispanic children. It's hard to leave your parents' house. You're
it
kind
is.
of like shaped and put in a road to not ever leave your parents' house.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
Like
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
it's kind of looked down upon to leave your parents' house in the
Hmm.
Hispanic community. They're like, why is he at his house?
Yeah.
So shout out to you for like going against that.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was just gonna say that. In our culture, like, I think it's pretty prominent for that. Even growing up, my parents would always say that. No, oh, you can stay here as long as you want, as long as you need. Like, please be here. I don't know vas, no te salgas. Like, you gonna you gonna stay here. You know what I mean? And like everything was cool, but yeah. Shout out to my parents because I really think that, like, they're a different breed. They have both different backgrounds that are very unique, and I take a lot of pride in, like, where I come from. Everything,
Yes.
like my blood, my like, to my grandmas, ancestors, like all that trauma, everything, DNA gets passed down, and I'm here. I'm the last product of that, and so I
Yeah.
take, like, great pride in, like, doing the best I can.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
because you're the youngest in your family, right?
Yeah, I am. I have two older brothers.
Yeah, he's the youngest.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, bro. Shout out to you too. Like, I remember just before before we got on here, we were just talking about how we were talking about this podcast, and it was
Yeah.
at Walmart where, like, the idea of maybe stimulated. Maybe it was before that, but I know it was
Uh,
talked about at Walmart when we were there. And so I'm really proud of you and happy for you, and even, like, amazed to be on here right now because shit can go places, and, like, this is really big. It's local, but it's, like, means a lot. That's all that matters. That's that self growth.
thank you, and I appreciate that, especially coming from you because you're someone who knew about this process in the beginning, like since episode 1,
Mm.
and I asked you to be a guest since episode 1, and you weren't like, I think about it. You said I'm down. Like whenever we
Yeah,
find time,
okay. Let's get it.
like
Yeah,
and episode 1 was filmed way long ago, and even since then you were like, I'm down, I'm down. And
yeah.
so thank you for seeing the vision, and just
Yeah,
I
I
just
got you,
feel
bro.
I just feel that like us as like young adults and teenagers that we have no one to relate to. And I feel like right now someone's hearing us right now, whether it's the 6 people, the 3 people listening right now, they're just like
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, I relate to them
Mm,
because I'm young. I don't know what I want to do. I want to see the self growth. I want to grow. I want to get out of this mindset. And that's
yeah,
another thing. We need to get out of fixed mindsets. For me, like where my self growth comes from is that I used to think that just because it was this way, it had to be the way. And I was just like, I thought about it and I was just like, you know what? It doesn't have to be this way. If I want to make a new lane and I want to do something different from everyone else, I'm allowed to do that.
yeah,
Like everyone just wants to like turn up, do whatever they want to do,
mm,
and not be responsible. Um, like for me, my self growth came from, you know what, like I see everyone else doing this, and that's okay. They want to do that, but I don't want to do that. I want to surpass that. I want to have a savings account. I want to work.
yeah,
I want to work for everything I have. I don't want nothing given to me, and just hustling,
yeah,
finding new type of bags out there because
yeah.
like
There's a lot.
there's a
There
lot
is
of
a lot.
bags out there.
School is not the only way, and, like, some of the biggest people will tell you that, And I know there's different situations. Oh, he didn't go to high school, but, like, it's a totally different situation. But, like, we're talking about money right now and self growth. Like, it's that fixed mindset, the fixed mindset of school. To stay in school, to go into school, good job, good career. But then you got somebody who's 14 making millions of videos, like millions of dollars off of one video. And it's like,
Exactly.
how can they do that when the system taught me to do this? You know,
exactly.
how do they learn that when I'm
Hmm.
taught to be this?
Hmm.
Algebra x equals my
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
And what I tell everyone is I'm a firm believer that school is not for everyone. I'm
right.
a firm believer in that.
Yep.
And that is okay. I think
Right.
society makes us seem that we need to go to school. We don't have to go to school. School is not for everyone.
Mm,
And I tell everyone at least take one term at college,
yeah.
because that's how you'll know, like, if you like it or not.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then like another example of like my self growth would be like back then, bro. Like I remember, you remember this.
Mhm.
I was so combative.
Yes. Hands on sight. You wanted all the smoke.
I wanted all the smoke, and
Yep.
I was ready to like argue, defend,
Okay.
and just be like very
I remember
negative,
that. Yeah.
be so negative, and that is not the wave.
Mhm.
That is not the wave.
Yeah.
Something I learned throughout the years was you need to pick and choose your battles.
Yep.
Not every battle is good. Not every win is good. Not every loss is good.
Yeah. And
You
sometimes your
know,
losses are wins, you know?
exactly.
Like,
Not even like going like trying to go back to this like situation, but it's something that me and you really went through, and like
yeah.
me, I feel like technically like I lost that battle, but honestly, that was a
Uh,
win for me.
on God. Yeah.
Like that was a win. Like in the view of others, I lost that fight, but if I'm honest, I think I won the war.
There you go.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and it
Because
because
it's where you are now, you know, it's the
yeah,
future
because
after
I
that.
got to know myself in that situation. I got to know myself that
Yep.
I don't need to depend on somebody else to be who I am. I don't need other people's energy to bring my energy up. I can do that myself,
Yep.
and I
Hell yeah.
feel
I'm proud of you for that. Because, like, you
thank
chose,
you.
like you said, you chose that battle, like, to not be combative. You said, you know what, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to learn myself. I'm going to get that self growth. I'm going to, just kind of experience. Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what they wanted. I feel like they wanted a reaction,
Mhm.
and they
That's
didn't
true.
get it. Yeah.
The instigators. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you think that as a generation, as like people our age, what do you think we need to improve on? What do you think we need to do?
Oof. I think that's a tough question because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of different answers.
Choose
And
one.
like, um, you said our generation
Mm-hmm.
specifically, like something we need to work on or improve.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Just one. I think. Okay, I'm gonna start off by saying this. I think we're doing a pretty good job on like some things. I was it was funny because I was actually talking to my mom about this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shout out to my mom.
Shout out to his mom.
It's Queen, bro, love her. We were talking about how environment is very different for everybody and it changes over the years, and environment is something you cannot control. So I remember growing up, I grew up in North Portland for all my life, and for a good 10 years of those, like, it was very scary. It was more dangerous than it is now. And to the extent of that, it doesn't really matter, but the fact that, it was dangerous for me as a kid for walking out at night, like, that says enough. And so I think right now, like, the world is changing so fast, and this generation's actually picking up a little bit. And it's not, so it can be rewarding, but it shouldn't be. Like, it's not our fault that a lot of these things are happening. It's people in power. It's people who have like this structure and are privileged enough to benefit from it. A lot of us are not, and we're still not. And kids have to go through that. There's so much news and world going on, and shout out, bless all their souls. I really hope like everybody's, okay. And I send out like positive energy because I think things will change. Whether for better or worse, I can't say, but things are going to never be the same every other second that we live through. Like, for just an example, I remember like, iPhones did not exist, bro. Like, they did not. I remember going outside, bikes. That was the thing. I mean, I was at that era where that ended, kids will never know. You know what I mean? Kids will never know. And let me start off by saying that maybe improving social media, because social media is one of those things that like is very wishy-washy. It can be good, but it can also be bad. It's so much information. Information can do a lot. It's
All
however
at
you
once,
perceive it.
information all at once.
Yeah, all at once. It's like all kinds of information, fake information, real information, bad information, influenced information. It's like it just changes who you are. So I would say to improve that in the sense of just kind of like, I think some platforms are able to allow others to grow and also feel part of a community, but there's a lot that also brings them down. So improving it by, I don't know, maybe having more restrictions, maybe having more, I wouldn't say security because that's also very sketchy. We're not the ones who implement security, and like there's so much patents and like little in between the lines that companies do to, that's a whole nother topic. But anyways, social media, I think we're getting there. Like this year was probably, or not this year, but in these,
2020.
like these past few years, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
probably I would say like 2018, 2017, like a lot of things happen, especially for us kids and our ages. And I think I've seen growth through social media and improvements, but I think there needs to be a little bit more than that in terms of just kind of uplifting each other, but also like truly connecting. Like one example, the GameStop thing that happened. I'm not too knowledgeable. I don't know a lot of it, but I know like the gist of it kind of. So y'all can correct me. And yeah, none of this, I don't know anything. But from what I heard, I think it's like pretty much something about the stock markets, but it was a community on Reddit that
Mm-hmm.
decided to do that, and it had a huge influence on people who like are rich. And that was something that like was kind of like, whoa, it kind of shocked the world, shocked the news, because people didn't really think about like doing something like that. But imagine if there was like, you can do that for a lot of things, a lot of other like stock markets or like another, ways to like create that and generate that income and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did after it, I don't know a lot of it, but I think I heard something of like about them donating and stuff, which is pretty cool. But that's one way that like was improved, but can still be used more. And our generation, I think, is doing okay at like kind of maintaining or just going through and experiencing these things, because like I said, it's a lot of upper stuff that we just like get dealt with at, at the bottom. Like the bread is up there and we're just eating crumbs right now, and so we're doing a good job of picking up the crumbs and just kind of helping feed everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, I like that. I like
Mm.
that. Okay. Um, I think something that I we need to improve in is getting the proper um skills. What I mean by that is I feel that um growing up, like we were told like about credit, mortgages, um just like a lot of things in general. What I mean by that is like credit. We need to learn as young people that we need to have good credit,
That's true.
and we need to focus on things that are gonna set us up in life. And what I mean by that is taxes. We need to understand the importance of taxes. Like
Yeah.
we need to file them every year.
Mm.
Um, I got my refund. Did you get your refund?
Yeah, I did get my refund. That's stimmy. Yes, sir.
We need to like focus on the importance of that. Like there's ways out there that you can do your own taxes. You do not need to pay
Right.
people to do your taxes. You can do it on your own.
Yeah.
Credit. You can open up a credit card. Well, your parent can open up a credit card early on before you're 18, where you can build credit. You're gonna
Yeah.
need credit. Credit, like as much as it's like really shallow, but credit runs the world. Like you need to have a good credit to have a good loan to buy a house, to get a car. Even though there's those places that you don't need credit, but if you really want a good deal, you need to have good credit, and
Yeah.
you need to set yourself up out there to get good credit.
Yeah.
Like even though like social media is out there, yes, that's cool. Posting pictures on Instagram, showing your life on Snapchat and things like that, but you need to set yourself up. You need
Yeah.
to take time. You have your phone. Take time to understand what a mortgage is, what APR is. things like that. And I feel like we don't take the time to understand or learn those things. And then once we get to a point in our lives where we need to learn those things, we don't know,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to figure it out. And I feel like it starts at a young age. We need to understand the importance of those kind of things, because I feel like no one tells us to that that's
Yeah.
important.
That's
No
true.
one
Yeah.
tells us. For I can say, like, my parents didn't know about that stuff, and that's understandable because they came here from another country. They don't
Yeah.
know. They don't know that stuff.
Yeah.
But we need to, like, as I feel like, I think something that happens in as young people, like, we tend to divide things, like even things like, where did you buy that shirt? And then they're like, the store.
Not the store.
And we're not like, I don't know, I just, like, I get shady things like that from people, like, oh, like, where'd you get your shoes? How much were they? They're like, a lot. I'm just asking, like, why
Yeah.
don't we, what, like, why don't you want to help me out? Like, why don't you want to support me? I feel like as much as we are like try to help empower each other, sometimes it's like fake empowerment, and we need to better that.
Oh yeah.
We need to set each other up
Yeah.
for things like that. And that's a whole nother thing about fake empowerment. That's a
Yeah.
whole nother topic.
Yeah. But to hop on that, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that like you said, self improvement, but the awareness of it. That's something that we can improve as a generation. I think an awareness is coming up, but like there still needs a lot. There's still a lot that needs to be done. Skills, for example, listening skills, just that's super important. A lot of people don't know that, like how to listen, how to say what the right things. People will be like, oh, at least you went like this, or it's not that bad, or I hope you like blah blah. Like those words say a
Terrible.
lot. You want to choose the right words. One word can change your whole life. It's really important. It's a big thing that shifts your mind. Like, versus I love you to I hate you.
Mhm.
Like, oh, what's up to like what? It's totally tone, everything. Like there's a lot that goes
Yeah.
into it. And words now are being like carelessly thrown. And I think the improvement of just kind of being aware to see the future and have everybody in it, not just yourself. But environment changes that. Say you've never had anybody help you and you've always been independent, so you do your own shit, you make your bad choices to you, but for him that was a good choice because where he's at now wasn't where he could have been before.
Hmm.
Dead, for example. You got to do what you got to do. I really appreciate the hustle. I appreciate like experiences that you go through. All that we ask is that you learn from it. Like
If
if
you
you know what you're
don't
doing.
learn
Yeah.
if you don't learn from anything, what was the point of doing it? Because you didn't get anything out of that.
Period. Like you're not like if yeah like if you think about it, you woke up, you did that thing. Next day, then what? You're
What
not
comes after
learning
that?
nothing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
what's next? That's not life. That's just kind of like being a robot and going through and reacting. But you got to like step back and you got to ground yourself. I would say yeah, improvement in self empowerment, but self growth. Like we're that's our topic today, personal
That's the
growth. And
topic
there's
of it.
like
It
those
all comes back together.
Yo, like there's so many things that you can do. Simple things, breathing, meditating. Like a lot of people cannot stay silent and just be like not think. And it's hard not to think. Meditating is such a label that's like put out there, but all it really means is to just not think and to not is just to be,
Just
to
be
exist.
relaxed. Just actually be relaxed.
To just
To
exist.
relax, let them relax the brain. Relax.
Yeah. Like you're just like a human, right? You have eyes, you have like if you put everything back on it's science and you know like how it kind of works. If you're here and you stop and you like, disassociate from TV, from Matt, from this like apartment, this space, like it's just darkness, but you can still think. Like what is that? What is that space of darkness?
Right.
People love to like shoot thoughts through it because your brain's there, but if you don't, then what? You're
Hmm.
just breathing, but like what are you? You know what I mean? You have no senses, no light, no
Yeah.
thing. And so it's very interesting and like it's um it's beautiful. I think it's like,
Mhm.
with all of this light and all this creation, there also needs to be that sense of just kind of silence.
Yeah.
Like death is also another topic, but like it's another beautiful thing. It's debatable. People have like their experiences with it and stuff, and I understand that. But for me, it's like it's that opposite. There's
Yeah.
always opposites. As above, so below. Light, death, like darkness. Without light, there can't be dark, vice
Yeah,
versa. And you can apply that to anything.
yeah. And that's a whole nother topic.
Whole nother time. We discussed it. I told you, bro, this is an 8 hour shift, bro. You better clock it.
And
Get your
speaking of darkness, it is 1:14 in the morning. So I want to thank David for staying up to say, because I was late. We were supposed to record at
this.
11.
Oh, dude.
And I want to thank David for being on this podcast. I really appreciate you,
Yeah.
bro. You are going to be my first guest.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate it. I'm
I'm
proud to
happy
be here.
that I got to share this moment with you.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Of course, anytime, bro. Oh God, I hope I can be a guest maybe sometime in the future again. I hope
Bro,
y'all like it. Let me know how y'all think about the video.
the
This is for
door
y'all.
is always open for Mr. Flores.
Yeah, Flores, hit me up. You feel me?
Any last words before we wrap up today?
um, yeah, shout out to Shay. She's the co-host. Wish she could have been here. It would have been cool to meet you. Also, give a like and subscribe and comment. Tell me what was your favorite part, the things you think that this podcast can improve in, and just give us the feedback so we can cater to y'all. This is for you guys, and I really appreciate being here. And I hope that you guys can learn something. Like you said, those to those 3 subscribers, like if we can influence you in any way, like that's what I'm here for, and I'm happy to speak about it. So
Thank
yeah,
you. And just to add to that, um, yeah, shout out to Shay. And we just gotta empower ourselves, real empowerment. And you can listen to the Act Out podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud, our main home.
Yep.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Act Out Podcast. And once again, thank you to Mr. Florezi, and we'll
Yeah.
catch you guys on the next
It's
one.
all love. Have a good one, guys.
All right, bye.